If you've ever seen a diagram that shows how to put together a children's toy, there's a very good chance you've seen an exploded axonometric view. Those are the views where you can see each of the individual parts that you're supposed to put together and little dashed lines that go back to their original locations. It kind of looks like that swing set, that toy, has been exploded and pulled apart. And if you follow the little dashed lines from those parts back, you can kind of visualize the way that that piece, that toy would look when it was all put together. That's exactly the concept behind this next exercise. And it's learning about how to create an exploded axonometric view of your Revit model. To begin with, this is a 3D view. And what I've done is I've isolated a staircase. Right here we have a wall, and behind the wall there's actually a staircase, and we'll see it here in just a minute. Select here at the corner, and then spin it around. So I just clicked on the upper corner of the view cube and then automatically spun this model around. I'll zoom in by spinning the wheel on the mouse. Then from here, the next thing I'd like to do is begin to start pulling walls away from this so we can see that staircase on the inside and get a better idea as to how this is getting put together structurally. So to do this, I'm going to start by selecting on this wall, which is kind of getting in our way visually, and then selecting on the Displace Elements tool on the ribbon. When we do, we'll see 1, 2, 3 different arrows. They represent the different directions that we can see underneath properties of X displacement, Y displacement, and Z displacement. If we know how far away we want to pull this wall away from the model, we could type it in right here. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select on this green arrow, hold my mouse button down, and now drag this straight out and away from the staircase. And now we can see that this is the way that the staircase looks on the other side of the wall. Now the next thing that we could do is we could select on the roof or this wall and either pull it out in this direction or pull it up. By doing those sorts of methods, that's where we start to get that look of that children's toy getting pulled away. But there's another feature that this tool allows us to do that I really enjoy. And that is if we select on that piece that we've already pulled away, there's an option here called Edit. And if you pick on Edit, you can then start to choose different things you want to add to what's called a displacement set. For instance, if I wanted to add this wall to that set, you'll notice how immediately it's pulled this wall back the same distance that I pulled this wall back. I could do the same thing here. I could do this with the different pieces that make up my roof. Now, all I'm doing is just selecting on these individual walls to pull them away. I'm going to click here, click on this piece here, and there should be another one down here somewhere, so I'm going to go looking for it. Select on this piece here, have it get pulled away. It looks like it's just a tiny little wall, so I'll get rid of that too. Now I'm going to click on a corner of the view cube to spin this around. I'll zoom in a little bit more tightly, pick on each of these, and we can see them getting dragged immediately over here. If we want to add color to this, we can by going down to the visual style and turning this on to shaded. And now we can begin to see how the staircase has been built inside of these walls. At this point, we could either just look at it and say this is okay, and then click on Finish to finish it off. That's exactly what I'm going to do in this case, is just click on the big green check mark and say Finish to finish it. And now that we've done that, we can see that we actually have two different components, if you will, that make up the staircase. It's the walls and pretty much the outside shell of the building, and now we have the staircase here itself. Now, the interesting thing about this is we've made no actual changes to our model. I know this doesn't sound like that could possibly be true, but it is. Right now, if we look under the project browser, you can see we're currently in a view named 3D. Well, if we right-click on 3D and go to Rename, I'm going to call this Exploded and click on OK. Now that I've done that, we need to move up here and select on the default 3D view icon. And this is going to show us the way that the building actually looks. And that staircase that we were just looking at is contained right inside of this area that my mouse is currently circling around. So as you can see, the building has not been pulled apart. Not really. This is view specific. And just in that one view, and I'm going to click close right up here in the corner to see it, it's only in this view where this building has been pulled apart. Now, one other thing that might be of interest to us is now that we've pulled this apart, and you can see that we can pull any of these components that we want out and away, is that the next thing that we can do is we can turn on our crop region. Click on Show Crop Region, see our crop region box, and I'm just going to window around that exploded view of the staircase. And now I'm going to zoom back in again. Now this is suitable to be a detail that we could pull out onto a sheet, put into a presentation. It may eventually even lead to a kind of view that we can put notes and dimensions and in general really note it up as a general detail. For the most part, we've done two-dimensional details. And part of the reasoning behind that is it's always been very difficult and time-consuming to draw something in perspective three-dimensionally and then note to it. With programs like Revit, now we can create these exploded axonometric views and with very great detail incorporate as much of the modeled objects as we want to have in these views, noting them, putting dimensions on them to better explain our designs.